aimless in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. 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 Yeah, I just wanna be great.
Is sponsored by PrizePicks. Love me some PrizePicks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS. They will match your deposit match up to $100. And if you want to spice up your NFL Sunday or any other day for sports, get started with PrizePicks right now. PrizePicks is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game. And if you're looking to have more fun on game day, look no further than PrizePicks. You want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz? You can now find community plays in the promos tab of the app to view entries, some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week. PrizePicks even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. For tonight's hockey game, I got Connor Ingram and Sergei Bobrovsky getting more than 26.5 saves and 24.5. So get started with PrizePicks right now. It's PrizePicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS, for deposit match up to $100. Why is it code CLNS? Because that's our ad agency partner. Use code CLNS. It's real easy. 4 letters get $100 match when you sign up. So download the app today, and the link will be in the description and comment section of this video. It's PrizePicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS. Woo! Wee! Welcome to the One Pride Podcast. We talk all things Detroit Lions news and rumors, where you get your fixin' of the Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid. You down that bad boy, drink it all up, and pee it out a couple hours later. In today's show, I got the man, the myth, the legend, Ant-Man from Roar, Lions, UK. What's going on, buddy?
Hey Mike, how you doing? Always love to come and chat football with you, especially as we're knee-deep in snow over here at the minute. There's nothing I would rather be doing.
I tell you what, I am really happy that you have snow and it's like 55 spring weather here, and I can go outside in a t-shirt and look like that, man. So I appreciate your misery. It makes me feel better about my life.
Oh, you know, isn't that Chicago Bears fans? Should they? Aren't they the miserable ones? I'm not miserable. I'm a Lions fan. I'm happy.
I tried my best. We got in the building, Man Bear Pig, Chrome, James, Janella, Devin Davis, Simran, Jonathan Atten, as well as Kirk Hasbrick. 9 drinks in the bill. What's up, 9 drinks? Chrome, Lisa, Del Lorenzo, Taylor, Alexa. So I want to say Alexis Bliss, but it's Janella as well. We got Jason Bergman in the building. People laughing right now. Folks, if you've not smashed that like button, do me a big-time flavor. Smash that bad boy right now, because it does push the content out there when you are live to get other people to see those lovely Detroit Lions content. And if we get to 100 likes, you already know what's going to happen. It's going to be a Ultra Combo. So we all love Ultra Combos over here because the game is fire. Ant-Man, let's get into it. The Detroit Lions signed a player, wide receiver, Traquan Smith. What is your thoughts about this wide receiver from New Orleans Saints, 6'2", coming to the Detroit Lions? Can play the X, he's fast. Do you think he has a chance to make the 53? Do you think it's just a camp body? Thoughts on Mr. Traquan?
I mean, like, as far as bodies for your futures list go, this is a pretty good deal. The guy's played in the NFL for multiple years. He's got a good number of reps in the NFL. He's made some good plays in the NFL. So, yeah, I'm always up about competition, getting these guys in, pushing our fringe guys. Who knows? It's the land of opportunity here, Mike. You know, if you come in, you grind, work hard, you can earn yourself a spot on this roster, and we will have depth positions available for receiver next year. So go for it. I think it's good. We're getting our business in early. We're getting in guys who can contribute, and again, these guys want to come here and be part of it. He could have gone to a lot of teams, but no, he wants to come here. I love it.
You're going to see a lot of free agents that want to come to the Detroit Lions because it's a good team and also got a hell of a coaching staff. We have Dan Campbell, a lot of people like him. Aaron Glenn, who is beloved by NFL players, right, is the number one DC to play with. So I like what he can bring. And if you say, well, it's not the biggest name in the world, that's okay. We also got a Khalif Raymond in free agency. He was not the biggest name in the world, and he worked out. I think this guy will be fine if he's a 5 or 6, if that's what he's competing for. He's not going to be, Jamison Williams. Not going to be St. Brown or a Laporta or even a Khalif Raymond. It's down the list, but depth is vital. We've seen how depth is vital. You have injuries. You needed players that could step in and take up that injured spot. I think that's what he'll be doing there. I think it's a good signing. I'm fine with it. It'll be interesting to see if Donovan Peoples-Jones gets signed now. Or I do think Reynolds gets signed, but he's going to be competing with those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, we've still got Antoine Green as well in the mix there. But we are still in the market for someone who can really play on the perimeter. Which is a guy, and this is what he's able to do. So you want as many guys in that room as possible, pushing, and then hopefully we've got a viable option on the outside as well next year. Because I say it's maybe the one thing we lack just a little bit of. But again, this is just competition. To Antoine Green, he's going to have to work really hard. Reynolds is going to have to work hard. All these guys are going to have to push one another. But we've seen this happen in multiple positional groups now where they've sort of stacked it up a bit. They've all fought out for positions, and it's led to high-quality performance. We've got high-quality depth on this team now because they're pushed. They don't just earn it. So, like I said, DPJ, I'd like to see him back here next year, but, if he can beat out Traquan Smith, if he can beat out Antoine Green, if he can beat out Josh Reynolds, these guys, then I'd be very excited about that. So, it's going to be interesting. But, again, I just love the depth, and I love the competition we're going to get because of it.
The Detroit Lions also made a new hire at defensive coach there, Desha Townsend. And this guy's actually going to be doing, I think, the secondary, the Dre Bly position. And they just hired him today right before we went live. That's going to be intriguing there, Ant-Man, because Dre Bly came in this offseason to help that secondary out, the corner position, and it was a disaster this year. So I wonder if he's going to push Dre Bly out of the picture, and this will be our new CB coach. We've had issues with this coach. That's the one position on this team we're having issues with.
Yeah, it's interesting, but again, they've gone out early to find these guys to come in, and as I said, it's part of the defense that we need to work on. You see, similarly, they've done it with the coach they've brought in from the Titans to come and work on the D-line now. John Scott Jr. has done a really good job this year in terms of getting that D-line amped up, ready for the run game, really getting that side of it over. Hutch has come on, but then the depth pass rushers, those bits there have not been as good. So, have they brought in another coach to complement that, to bring it in to, get all facets of the game up? Or has he been moved out as well? But, it's good that they're making moves early. These are experienced coaches, guys who've been there, done that, know what they're doing. And yeah, the passing game needs a lot of work. We need a passing game coordinator for the defense because it's just not worked at all this year. And if it is Bly whose head's on the block, then I don't think he's really got much of a case to say that it's unfair. So, again, the team are going out, doing their business quick, getting the guys they want, giving them as much time to get in and acclimatise as possible. It's, you've got to keep evolving in this league. We can't just say, we got to the championship game this year, just keep everybody. It's not how it works. You've got to keep evolving, keep improving, and this is just towards that.
And you just said you got to keep evolving, keep improving, getting better, and that's what this team is going to do this offseason is get better. And Alex Anzalone came out and said next year it's going to be us in the Super Bowl. I know a lot of people don't like him saying that. I do. I like the fact that they're a confident football team. They understand what they're building here, and this is not a one-year fluke. This is going to be a multi-year good football team. And expectations, I do believe, should be Super Bowl or bust. In my opinion, when you get to the NFC Championship game with this roster, you need to take the next step the next year. The next step is simply the Super Bowl. So I love the concepts and the idea that these players are taking right now and being, extremely confident in wanting to give Detroit a Super Bowl, wanting them to understand, the fan base, that this is not a one-year wonder. This is going to be a long, sustained sports team going forward that's going to be good, and the national media is going to have to recognize that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly the thing we want, isn't it? We don't want to be a flash in the pan. We don't want to be the Cleveland Browns from a few years ago when everyone went crazy when they sort of had their little run in the playoffs and then nothing's really materialized since then. The big difference between us and them is we've got the young core of our team ready to go who are just going to get better every year. We're in a very healthy cap situation. We're, the big parts of the team are built now. Like the foundations, your trenches are good. They're ready to go. You've got your quarterback. You've got your coach. You've got, both your coordinators coming back, which is going to be good consistency-wise for them. And, and we're just going to continue to draft really well. And as long as you're drafting really well, your window's never really going to close to be able to go out there and compete because you're always going to be in a friendly cap situation. So, I could listen to Brad all day, every day, the way he talks about this team, the way he goes about his business. Like he says, moves he makes, moves he doesn't make. It's just all incredibly calculated. It's all part of the plan. And they've never differed from that plan. They said we're going to build it through the draft. They've not tried to shortcut through free agency. They've not tried to shortcut through trading. They've just stuck to what this plan is. And within 3 years, we're already ahead of schedule. And, we're in a great position going forward. Brad is going to keep us competitive for a very, very long time. And that's the name of the game. As long as you're there, as long as you get the opportunity to go to the dance, the more raffle tickets you got, the more chance you got of winning. So, yeah, I love it. I love his philosophy, and I do truly believe him. We're going to be competitive for a very long time.
100% we're going to be competitive. We're going to be very strong. We're going to have a strong D. And the D is going to be really, really powerful when it smashes through opponent's O. And we're going to clog the hole. We're going to stuff that bad boy like a turkey. And teams are not going to walk for a week after they get through us. Once you go through the Lions, you're in a wheelchair. So that's what we want to see. And that's a part of life is taking it down and be refreshed with a big load. So we got a $10 super chat right here.
What? Is that the new slogan, Mike? Once you go grit, you're never gonna sit.
No, hey,
there you go.
Look here, folks. If you want to get a disability claim, it's simple. Go through Detroit. You're gonna be down for a while. At least that's what my ex said. But we got a $10 super chat here from Thomas Leach. It says, "Hi, Big Mike. I'm almost over the big loss against the 49ers, but what a fantastic season. Listen to you from Texas, Singapore, Indonesia. Thank you for your great work. Thomas Leach, you're a real one. I appreciate you, my guy. You've been listening for a long time. $10 super chat all over the world. That's what's up, and we're going to have to give you an Ultra Combo. Thomas Leach is a real one. Everybody in the comment section, show some love to Mr. Thomas Leach sending that super chat. And I love it, man. That's cool, man. I like when you guys take the time and do something like that. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel really good. Ant-Man, if you could have one free agent that's currently on the Detroit Lions team, that's going to be free agent, and you can only get one to come back, who would that be and why?
Our free agents, sorry.
Our free agents.
Oh, out of all our free agents, you know what? I know it's not the popular one, but if the deal can be done and the money's right, I'd bring back Jonah because I want to keep the offensive line intact, and I want to keep the younger guys on the offensive line intact for as long as possible. I know he gets knocked for the injuries this year, but the 3 years previous, pretty decent with his health-wise, not missed much. He's been big for us. He's big. He's part of this team. He's part of the whole draft and develop consensus of this team. Now, I know he's not Brad's pick, but still, at the end of the day, you've seen how bad offensive line play is in the league, how valuable these guys are. When you find them, you do your best to hang on to them. So, I hope that something is able to be worked out with him, I would like him back to keep as much stability on the O-line as possible, because we are going to go some change up there, whether we like it or not, the next year or two. And to have him there as a block just helps it that much more.
And you talked about, physically in the offensive line. It doesn't matter that it wasn't a Brad Holmes draft pick, folks. Taylor Decker wasn't a Brad Holmes draft pick, nor Frank Ragnow, and I think they're pretty damn good. So just because you weren't drafted by him doesn't mean you can't. I want Jonah Jackson to come back because this guy is good with the offensive line, and when it comes to the running backs, without Jonah Jackson, you're not smashing that hole hard. In the comment section right now, put hashtag smash the hole. We want to continue to be a physical football team up front, and it all starts with that offensive line. And I want him to come back. I don't think he's coming back. I think he's going to get outpriced with a lack of guards in NFL free agency. I think a team's going to put a big offer on there, and then we're going to get a conditional third-round pick at some point. That's what it's going to be. He's going to get paid buku money, because if you look at the guards in free agency, it's not good. And then you got Jonah Jackson above everybody else.
Yeah, it's that's going to be the problem. It's going to be the competition for these guys, and we've also got to be very mindful about our own cap situation going forward. Is unfortunately having all these good drafts, there's going to be a lot of people to pay soon. So if his is going to be a contract which is going to impede that in future years, that is the trouble. And if other teams, are going to be able to outbid us for him, I mean, if he goes and gets another contract, like, fair play to him. Like, I'm not going to hold any ill will against him, anything like that. He's done really well for us. He's earned the right to go out there and make his payday. And I kind of figure that's the way it's going to go. But I do hope sort of that, I don't mind him testing free agency. He goes out there, but I would like to think maybe he's happy here if he gets a good enough deal on a line that he knows is good, somewhere and don't forget, we could possibly win a Super Bowl. Like, that does factor into the minds of players. He knows we can get there now. So I don't know, maybe I do feel we have a little bit in there, maybe. We can undercut a couple of these other teams, but it just depends what the money is. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's like going to be in the draft. Like, offensive line's going to be so valuable this year just because play is declining across the league. You need great guys, and he is a great guy, and he's going to earn a good payday. It'd be a shame if he does go, but I will always hold out hope until it happens.
For sure, folks. This next topic, I want everybody to get involved in the comment section. This one's interesting because after Brad Holmes did his press conference, he was putting up receipts. All these people that said his draft was butt cheeks, right? Everybody destroyed this guy for his draft, except for a bunch of YouTubers. Okay, a bunch of YouTubers were like, this is a good draft. The media butthurt over that. 97 won the ticket. Even my guy, Matt Darius, mad. A lot of these media was mad. For me, I don't understand why they would be mad. I think it's the process of these reporters to actually do due diligence and look into prospects. Ant-Man, you spend a lot of time in the draft. Countless hours. You're not getting a whole lot of money to do that. Okay, these reporters get paid to do that, and they're not doing it. So I think the criticism is justified, validated, and I'm on the side of Brad Holmes. Media, stop just listening to Todd McShay or Mel Kiper Jr. It is okay to utilize your own IQ and brain and look at these prospects. It's not that difficult. What is your thoughts on this situation? I'm on the side of Brad Holmes.
Oh, I am too. If you can give it, you've got to be able to take it. That's like the motto in life. If you give out criticism, you have to be able to receive the same criticism. And when a lot of these drafts have been made, a lot of criticism has been given in Brad's direction. And, that's fine. That is your right to be able to do that. But don't be hurt when they keep those receipts and they come back and they say to you, well, look, actually, I was right. There's two sides to every argument when it comes to this. And, I'm for one happy Brad is, because I think Brad's earned that right. Brad has been a very good talent evaluator. Like, even before his days here, he drafted well for the Rams as well. He's been in this business a very long time. He knows a lot. He's got contacts everywhere. And he's got the same belief that Dan does. This is not non-traditional thinking with the draft. It's like me. I screw positional value. I don't believe in it as I don't believe in positional value as a concept. I think if a player is good enough, he should be worthy of the pick that is deemed to him. If he is a first-round talent, then he is a first-round talent regardless of his position. And we've seen Brad has been able to build a roster that can go to an NFC championship game because he's drafted players who fit his system. Not just good or maybe even great players. They've got to fit your system. They've got to have the attitude. They've got to have the mindset. And you see it with every single one of these guys. They are what you would call Detroit personified. It's more than just the talent level. It's more than just the position. You've got to go higher than that. That's how the really successful teams are built. And Brad has been great at that. He's wheeled and dealed good. He's very rarely missed on anyone. I mean, can you name me one GM over the last 3 years who's hit like even close to the same number of draft picks that he has? I think the answer would be no. And if they are, then, you know, they're a very good GM in their own right. But the media need to learn to be accountable. Like, I agree. They just spend all their time grilling him, and then when they get it back, they're a little bit hurt. And, you know, I'd be willing to admit if I was wrong on them, like I do with my draft takes. I'm not right.
100%.
Like half the time, it's like I just do it on emotion and feeling it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll admit it. Just deal with it. That's part of life.
No one is going to be 100% right. It's never going to happen. We're not Jesus, okay? We don't have the ability to know everything. That's not what it is. But you got to do your own research, and you got to take the time and look at it. I think a lot of these people don't do that. They just look at these damn mock drafts, and they're like, this is the player you're going to get. And I think this is stupid. And this idea that you don't draft a specific position because of positional value is ludicrous. You're telling me you're going to skip out on a running back because he's a running back, even if he's an elite player. He's elite. You're going to skip on it because he's a running back. That literally is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. You're not going to go ahead and draft a Derrick Henry, a Barry Sanders. You're not going to draft these players, well, because they're a running back. Okay, real smart. We'll go ahead and we'll take that. We'll take these running backs. Okay, we don't care what you think about that. And it's this narrative's got to end. Look, if they're an elite player at any position, elite, you're talking blue chipper, you're talking about Pro Bowler, all-pro player, you take it. I don't even care if you have an influx at that position. If you have a Penei Sewell sitting there and you already have another Penei Sewell, well, guess what? I'm going to go ahead and get another one. I'm going to upgrade that. You don't pass on talent for need. We have done that for years and years in this organization, and it's failed miserably, Ant-Man.
Of course it is. Like I say, you get as many great players on your team as possible who fit your team. Like, you know, I know it would be controversial, but if a Jahmyr Gibbs is sat there again this year, like, I think he'd fully consider doing it again. You get these players on, you build the roster around them. And, I mean, what have we got out of our 3 drafts so far? We've got our cornerstones for the future. We got Penei, we've got Aiden, we've got Amon-Ra, guys who, you know, epitomize what this team is. Like, and these are great guys, and you are going to build around them, and they're hopefully going to be lines for life, and, you know, you get them. You know, positional value, other guys might have said, don't take them wherever you did. Brad doesn't care. You go out and you get these guys, and we've seen it. Our team is chock full of rookies who have, like, they've worked against the odds, maybe in their favor. They've had a lot of game time. Some of them have struggled a little bit to start with, but they will get there. And I know that's one of the big things he was mad at, because they were, like when he had to go at Carlos for calling Iffy a bust. There's a reason why you grade draft classes after 3 years, because you've got to wait and see. Not everybody hits like Penei Sewell from day one, where he's going to hold a starter job for his entire career. And I don't care whether you're a first-round pick. I don't care whether you're a 7th-round pick. I'll give you 3 years.
3 years.
And then when you get to that 3-year mark, then judge them. Because if we'd have judged Iffy and Barnes last year and canned them, like, what would we have wasted potentially with them? We've now potentially got 2 really good pieces on our defense because we have remained patient with them. We've developed them right. and eventually they've come good. Some of them you just have to wait with, but because everyone sort of went off early going, oh, they're busts, they're no good after 2 years, 1 year, yada, yada, yada. That's what Brad was on about. You've got to trust the process and give it time. If after 3 years they're doing nothing, then you've got a legitimate right to criticise. But until then, you've just got to wait and see what they do with them. Every single player is forging his own path at his own pace. And it doesn't happen right away sometimes. It's the instant gratification thing of it. It's like, they've got to be all-stars. They've got to be all-pros. You know, they've got to be sort of that level, which is just not true. All our guys have developed, and it's just taken them different amounts of time. But here we are 3 years later. We're laughing. We're absolutely laughing from it. And Brad saw this with them all. Hell, he saw it with Goff as well when no one else saw it. I know he's not a draft pick per se, but everyone gave up on Jared. He's the one who facilitated the trade up to go get him in the first place, brought him here. And like when he was talking about him, and he's like, I don't understand. Like his second full year as a starter, he went to a Super Bowl, and everyone said that's when his career ended. It's like not a lot of quarterbacks do that. We're just living in an age where we've got Patrick Mahomes and realistic expectations for everybody are out the window. But like Justin Herbert's never been to a Super Bowl. Josh Allen's never been to a Super Bowl, and these are the elite kids who you're building around, and they're so much better. Brad sees things that others don't, and it just goes so much deeper than how good is he on paper. You've got to take so much more into consideration than just what's on the paper, which is what he's good at. But like you said, it's what a lot of people will judge on. What do the national outlets say? That's why I do all the things I do. Yep. Like I grew fed up of... Because over here in England, it's very hard to get your draft information over here until draft season. And then you've just got all these guys saying, oh, this guy's good, this guy's bad, yada, yada, yada. And then when I start looking at the footage, I'm like, what are they talking about? I don't see that. I don't see this. And then all of a sudden you see like, okay, there's a bit of an agenda going on. They're not looking properly. A lot of people just follow what is said. And I found it a lot more enlightening to do it myself.
Yep. You know, that's what you got to do. Is you got to.
I'm just a brick still learning the game. I'm still learning I'm still learning the game. But you know, you look at it and you do it yourself, and then you can form your own valid opinions. And I will stick very robustly to my opinions, even if they're wrong. But at least I've done my research for it.
It's imperative to be patient with the development of players. Like you said, players do not all learn at the exact same time. People learn differently at different speeds. Not everybody is a Sam Laporta that can come in on snap one and be an all-pro. That is extremely unlikely. When that type of stuff happens, it's crazy good. But most players, it takes time to develop. Derek Barnes and Futu Melifonwu were the two biggest names. You said 100%. These guys developed. Now you got Iffy. He's looking like an amazing safety, maybe one of the best in football. If he tears it up like he did the second half of the season, he starts it next year, he's looking at an all-pro type of safety because he was balling. And then you had Derek Barnes, a really good linebacker for the Lions. So be patient with development. And it's okay to take some times. And also what's okay is you guys to put questions in the comment section. It is the mailbag segment. If you got questions, do hashtag Lion, hashtag Smash the Hole, hashtag Emily, whatever you want to put it. Put it in the comment section right now. We'll read it. We'll talk about it. And maybe you'll be featured on a video coming up. Because sometimes I like to do that a little bit there, man. You know, feature what the folks think. Feature what they think. But before you do that, smash that like button. Let's get to 50 likes. We're 6 away from that number. 78 in the building. And slowly climbing up there as it continues goes on. So smash that like button. Mofo Jibba says, what up, man? Hey, what up, man? What up, man? Imagine if somehow the Lions eliminated by the Vikings in the postseason. Well, look, it could happen.
Hey, Vikings fans.
Yeah.
They've been very, very chatty, haven't they, this year, yeah. Vikings fans.
They're getting there. I think it's going to be a tough division. If they do get a quarterback in Minnesota, they're going to be a pretty good team. But to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And guess what? Right now, we the man. That's right. We are the man. So you got to wait a little bit. Got another season to figure out there. Well, I think we trade Kirk. Come on, folks. Come on, folks, throw the comments in there. I don't know. Kirk's a free agent, so I don't see them trading a guy that's a free agent because he's not on the football team of the Minnesota Vikings at this point. He could go to, I don't know, he could go to freaking San Francisco.
Atlanta.
He can go to the Atlanta Falcons, all that type of stuff. Question for Ant-Man. How did Ant-Man become a Lions fan? How'd you become a Lions fan, my man?
Oh, so this goes back to when we've got a video of this on our channel, but to put a long story short, when I was growing up, I used to listen to Motown all the time as a kid. It was Motor City music, all that sort of stuff. So I kind of adopted Detroit as my American city because I didn't really know much about it at the time, and it was one of the few cultural things I did with it. So when I got into the NFL and saw they had a football team, it kind of just made natural sense for me to go for the place that I'd adopted, really. And then sort of over time, the more I sort of got involved with it, the more they have quite a similar backstory to my soccer team that I support over here. Like, we're a very small team. We play in the 5th division of English football at the minute. We go through a lot of rough times, very little success. But what you have is a really strong built community of fans who love the game, who just go out, have a good time. It's not about the flashy players. It's not about the big trophy, all sort of that. It's just about the love of the game altogether. And I noticed the similarities, and I'm like, yeah, that's a team I can root for. And like in our 3-4 years doing this now, like, the community around Detroit is absolutely amazing when it comes to its football. People just love ball. They're not the most successful team, but they're very loyal. They're very passionate. It's a wonderful community to be in. We've been ingratiated into it. Like, I can't believe how you guys have taken to us over there. Like, I used to watch you back. I was like, good, I would love to do something like that. I could only dream of doing something like that you do. And now I get to sit here and talk to you with it. It's like, you didn't have to do that. There's hundreds of people over there who do this. But, that's just how welcoming the community is. So very similar to kind of where I grew up here. So, yeah, it was just a faith thing, really.
If I see talent, I bring talent on. Simple as that. You got talent. Hit me up. We're always good. Ant-Man is extremely intelligent and understands prospects. That's why I always have him on there. Very good. Jonathan Anson says, what do you think it would take to trade up to 15 pick in the draft? Take quite a bit. Well, it really depends on the team, I guess. But I think you'd probably have to give up like a second-round pick or something to go from 29 to 15. Maybe something else, too.
Give up a future.
Yeah, future.
Give up a future
draft pick of that nature to move up. I don't know if that's something that they'll do. That would be a big move, but they've done it before with JMO. So, I mean, it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. Is Frank Ragnow retiring, or is he coming back? We don't know. My thought process is he's going to come back this year and retire next year. What do you think, Ant-Man?
I believe that as well, because he's got 3 years left on his contract right now. Like, there's still a good distance to go. I mean, he's only 27, and if you're Frank, I know he's hurt, and I know he's playing hurt, but he's had to endure some really rough times in Detroit. Like, when he was drafted here, he's had to deal with the whole Patricia era. He's had to go through a lot. He's had to go through the start of this rebuild. You think how much bad time he's had here. Do you think he's going to quit on the team now that they're just coming to the light and they could possibly go to the Super Bowl and win it? Like, for him to grind through all of that pain and suffering just to give up when it's getting better. I know he's hurt, and if he does, I would not hold it against him. But I think he'll grit out at least one more year. And if we can win a Super Bowl, like, for him, that'd just be perfect, because if any player's earned it, he has. So I don't think he's going to give up just yet. He's been through way too much to quit now, and he's got a full off season to hopefully recover. It's just the toe that's inoperable. Hopefully everything else is just a case of a bit of wear and tear, get him fixed, get him ready, and do it again next year. But I think at least one more. I would hate to see him go now.
Bryce asks, should we go for the other side of the cross and Hutch in free agents or the draft? I say draft one, but like your thoughts as always. I think when it comes to the draft and getting somebody opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, whether it be in free agency, I think they're going to do both. I would really like the Detroit Lions to get Danielle Hunter. I think that is the target. I've been saying this for a long time. It makes too much sense. He's 28, So he's not going to cost as much as a Josh Allen, but his production is extremely high at 16.5 sacks, one of the best in football, and you wouldn't have to give him a seriously long contract. He's probably looking for like a 2 or a 3-year deal, in my opinion. And that would be perfect because then you pay him, and by the time that's up, Aiden Hutchinson will be coming up. You can let Danielle Hunter go, then you extend Aiden Hutchinson, and it gives you a couple years having an elite defensive line of 2 pass rushers, bona fide pass rushers to get after the quarterback. And then the draft, they can easily trade up in the draft. They could stay there, go back. Plenty of edge rushers. You know they're going to attack that position. I just don't know what round they're going to attack it. What is your thoughts on, getting a bookend opposite of Aiden Hutchinson free agency of the draft?
I think it's a need. Obviously, in an ideal world, Houston will come back and be that guy next year, but you can't take that opportunity with him been out for so long. And plus, he's still so raw as a rookie as well. For me, it all depends. Is the right guy going to be on the free agency market, for you to go and get? Because let's not forget, it's not just free agents now. When it comes down to new league season, salary cap, got to get under. Guys get cut. Like, if you can't shift a guy, you can't trade him. Guys are going to get cut who are going to appeal to us. And, there's a lot of teams out there this year who are in salary cap hell. And I think there's going to be a lot of players who are going to get cut or they're going to try and get rid, something like that. So it all depends. Like, usually I like to draft guys, but I feel in our case with Hutch, having a veteran opposite him, would be having a veteran at the peak of his powers would be the perfect complement, because then he gets more opportunities, more one-on-ones, can't double up, etc. So if that guy's there, great. If not, go draft. But I would prefer a veteran presence for him. I'm not going to lie. Romeo and Charles are going to be gone. We're going to have their contracts off the books. So let's go spend it on another guy, see if we can hit.
Yeah, Romeo, where art thou, Romeo? Sure as hell wasn't on the defensive line. Hashtag draft. What should we do for the kicking purposes? I fully believe, and I expect this, that they're going to take a 6th or a 7th round pick in this year's draft a kicker. They're going to bring competition to that room with Michael Badgley. Maybe they'll bring another guy in here, but I expect the Lions to draft a kicker, and when I do my mock drafts, expect it, whether it be 6th or 7th round, the Lions going to take a kicker. This is a position that this organization has not had right in a minute, and it's time to get it right. It is important to have a guy who can kick that long field goal. We've seen it, that we had players that are pretty accurate, but when it comes to 50 and above, it's a little bit iffy. You're talking less than 50%, and that's not a percentage you want to have for your kicker, because you can win or lose a game by a kicker. And anyone want to debate me about you should never draft a kicker late in the round? Well, if you have a good kicker, you draft a good kicker, that guy could be there for a really long time, i.e. Jason Hanson. So if he's a good one, I'm not doing no 3rd, 4th, or a 5th round pick on a kicker, but you can get kickers 6th, 7th round, and that could be a starter for many years. Generally speaking, 6th or 7th round picks don't even make the team that year when they get drafted. So you'd like to at least get a player who's going to be a bona fide starter for many years. That's my thought process on that bad boy. What do you think, Ant-Man?
I draft Harrison Mevis. I'm all in on him this year. So, yeah, I draft a guy completely. If I've got to go a little higher for him, so be it.
I know people in
Bucks,
England,
49ers. Yeah, I'm not as big on special teams as others, but I do believe the kicker, I do believe it's an incredibly valuable position. Like, they're going to be, traditionally, the highest point scorers in franchise histories for most teams' kickers. These are the guys who are clutch at the moment you need to. I believe they need more value. I mean, the 49ers took Moody in, the 3rd? He's going to a Super Bowl. It is a little high,
but their depth
like,
is
if you were
good
to get
on the team that they could afford to do that. They legitimately could.
Well, they get all those comp picks from selling on their execs and coaches and stuff like that. So, I mean, if we were to get comp picks and stuff like that this year, I'd happily, because that's a pick you're not expecting. I'd give 100%, that.
Yep.
But I'd be certainly drafting a guy this year.
Got it. We got to get this thing going for that kicking game. What about the players from Taylor Alexis Janela? We draft for the playoffs. Is he still on the team next year? We drafted from I don't know what you're talking about.
For the playoffs.
What about
The player we drafted for the playoffs.
Can you answer that? I'm a little confused on it because I don't
know.
I
Maybe
don't know
it's
either.
Broderick.
Gotta
Maybe it's
rephrase
Hendon.
that in there.
Maybe it's
I'm
one of the
not-
longer. Maybe it's one of the longer tenure guys. I mean the project guys like Hendon or Broderick.
Okay.
I would expect them both to be here next year.
Oh
if
yeah,
that's
the guys. Yeah, of course they're going to be here. Yeah, they're going to be here. I don't know about. I think Broderick will be here. For sure.
Broderick will be. Broderick will be just fine. He's going to take
Hooker's
time.
Definitely going to be here. He's our backup quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not getting traded, folks. Whoever is saying that's literally the dumbest thing I've heard. They're not trading this guy. Hashtag from Jonathan Anton. I would do what the 49ers and draft a kicker in third or fourth and get the best one. Not this year. I would not do it. Premium pick, still a third-round pick's a pretty damn premium pick. And look, we got an Ali McNeil in the third round. You know, you could get some talent there. Only way I would do that, like you said, is if we had access of comp picks. That would be really the way I'd do it if you wanted to go that early. But you can wait a little bit to get a kicker. You could get good kickers at undrafted rookie. Yeah, kickers are something that you can find. Remember, we spent on Nate Freeze, and that worked out real well. So, yeah, taking Moody in the third round was definitely a shocker, but I get it. Their depth on that team is so immense that third-round pick may not even play the whole year, so that's why they probably did it too. They're thinking in the process of it because they're so good with all the positions. Remember, folks, it's important in this year's draft to understand that it is going to be difficult for all the players whom we draft to make this team because the depth is really good. Really good. So it's going to be – we're going to get to that point as an organization like the San Francisco 49ers where it's like, now we got to be a little strategic here because you don't want to just waste a pick. You draft a guy, they get released, go to the practice squad, and some other person picks him up. Some other team picks him up, and that'd be a wasted pick. So we shall see. It's a great problem to have. That's all I can say, and it's something we're not used to here in Detroit, Ant-Man.
No, absolutely. So I'd fully expect... I'm with you. I think there might be less draft picks this year. I would expect Brad, like the question was put, would he move up in the first? If the right player is there at the right position and the deal can be done, he'll sure as hell do it. Like, he's done it, 2 years in a row now? No, one, sorry. He went up for JMO. No, he went up for JMO. He came down for... But he still came down for Gibbs because he thought, well, we can get him later and we get some picks with it. But he will move around here, there, and everywhere. But I don't know. I feel like he'll go up because I think we're close. I think we're a few players away. If the right corners sat there or Jazane Newton sat there like 15 to 20 and you can go and get them and they'll be the piece that pushes you over the edge.
Yep.
And I would expect him to do it. Draft picks be damned.
Look, if there is a player that they can feel that will help this defense out immediately, and you have to trade up to get that player, you mean he's a blue-chip talent or somebody they fully expect to be an integral part for this defense for years to come, make the trade. You don't think about the compensation if you get the right player. You don't. You get that elite player, who cares, what you gave up. We traded up to get Brian Branch from the Green Bay Packers. Does anyone really care what we gave up to do that? Hell no. All we know is we got a stud cornerback / safety that's being a baller and making plays. That's what I want to see. Even if they trade back, I'm fine with that as well because I know that Brad Holmes can find talent in the second round. Now, if you'd asked me during the Bob Quinn era, hell no, don't trade back the second round. Don't do that because you're going to just throw that player away like Jelani Tavai. But this team's a little bit different. I fully trust Brad Holmes. Whatever decision he makes, I am fully behind. This guy is the best evaluator of talent that I've seen. He's really good. He knows exactly what he's doing, and I'm so happy that he is our general manager and making significant decisions, and a lot of them being correct. Our kicking game is awful. Got to get someone who can hit the 45-yard plus field goal. I agree with you. I think you got to get the percentage up. I do believe that's a little bit in the head of Dan Campbell with some of these fourth. I'm not saying all of them because he isn't aggressive, But it's also when you have less than 50% at 50 plus, it is difficult to trust your kicker because that's not good. You need to be like 70%, 75% when you're talking that less than 50 is butt cheeks. That's terrible. It's butt cheeks. And ain't nobody likes butt cheeks, okay? Especially the hairy ones that has stuff and brown around it. Nobody likes that stuff, so we want to be good. Oh, he's got to do some nasty stuff. Let's see. We wasted on Broderick. Don't say this right now. He'll be given 2 more years. If he sucks in 2 years, I will say it was a bad pick. But I'm going to wait 2 more years. Does it look good right now? It doesn't look good. Does it mean it's going to stay that way? Nope. Doesn't mean it at all. Because Ifutu Melifonwu had a struggle in the beginning of the career, blew up. Derek Barnes struggled at the beginning of the career, blew up. So I will wait. Yeah, man.
I mean, theoretically, we didn't waste picks on Broderick. We used the picks we garnered from trading back. We never had those picks in the first place. It was a free pick as far as free picks go. So, one, we didn't waste that. But 2, people have got to understand, like, these guys take time. Like, Broderick spent a lot of his time in the FCS. Then his FBS football experiences in the CUSA. 3 players got drafted out the CUSA last year. The other 2 were in the 7th round. It's not somewhere where you just go and you get a starter who comes in and wrecks stuff up. As we know with Brad, he looks for the developmental traits to condition over time and turn into star players. He was never really going to play year 1. That was never, ever the consensus thing. But you've got to understand with Brad, there's a reason behind this. He will come good. I think you'll find with Broderick, year 1's a write-off. It's always going to be. There's so much stuff he's got to work on. Year 2, you will see him work into the rotation a little bit more. And year 3 is where you'll see him start to blossom fully. And that's the process with it. And if he blossoms after year 3, we're not batting an eyelid about that pick. But as far as Broderick's timeline goes, he's perfectly on it at this moment in time. You've got to see where he comes from and what he's been doing and what he needs to do. He was never going to start year 1. It's not a wasted pick yet, far from it.
Say he doesn't pan out. I really don't care. We've done so good with the draft. If a player doesn't work out, welcome to the NFL draft. Not every player performs well. But we have drafted Hall of Famers. We've drafted Hall of Famers. Penei Sewell is going to be a Hall of Famer, folks. Sam Laporta, you're going to be a Hall of Famer. All right. Ada Hutchinson, looking pretty damn good right now. He's starting to look like Joey Bosa at the end of the year. He was really starting to pick it up. So if he doesn't pan out, I really don't even care. Like, I'm not gonna whine about it. Not gonna be about it. It's a 3rd round pick. Like, guess what? Will Harris didn't work out. 3rd round pick. And I'll take Broderick Martin in the secondary compared to having Will Harris in the secondary. And Broderick Martin's a big boy, and he can't run. So it's just one of those deals, man. Not everybody works out. Ant-Man, going through the draft, you've seen a lot of things. You're looking at these prospects. What is one player you are specifically looking at that you want the Detroit Lions to draft, and this guy could be a stud for many, many years?
Christian Haynes. Without a shadow, I've waited for him all year to come to the draft process. The right guard out of UConn. We're going to need offensive line help this year. We're going to need a guard this year. The dude, he's a smidge undersized. I don't care. He's a bowling ball. Comes to the run game. He's physical. He's athletic. He's one of these guys who pulls really well, gets to the second level, fits our scheme to an absolute T. I don't know whether you saw the thing with him at the Senior Bowl where he told the guy he was with to go back to church because he couldn't deal with him. The guy's got attitude. He's got a chip on his shoulder, and he's done it the hard way. Like, he's remained incredibly loyal to a really bad program for 5 years. He's a team captain. He's got all the leadership qualities you want. We need a right guard in the team for when Glasgow's done. Like, he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the next big thing on the offensive line for me. And I would really hope I really want to draft him. Like, he's the guy.
Totally
he's been the guy all year for me.
Nobody. Who does that remind you of?
No.
On the offensive line.
Exactly.
Cool.
All of them. All of them.
Oh, Aaron Donald, I'll show you what's up. I'm Penei Sewell. That dude, like that's the type of players I love for this team, is that confidence, that bully mentality, scared of nobody. And that is a Dan Campbell and a Brad Holmes type of player right there. That's what they're looking for. The gritty, the tough, foundational pieces, built in the trenches, bully people around, protect the hole. You always want to protect the hole.
And they fit your system, most importantly. Yep. Like that's the big thing. You could give up on guards who are technically more talented, but if they fit your system and they still play at a high level, they will be more valuable to you in the long run. So, like, I don't pertain to know what Brad looks for in that, but you can get a little bit of a vibe from some of these guys. Like, yeah, they've got some of the little bits there, but it's all part of the process. I love watching tape and scouting guys. There's a load of guys I'm excited about this year.
Bradley Mustaine, do you think that we'll be able to trade some picks to move up and take a Jared Verse? I like Jared Verse a lot. Be interesting to see where he goes, because you see mock drafts, you could see there's not a lot of high-end defensive talent in this draft. It's predominantly offense, so at least in the early parts, I mean. So it'd be interesting to see where he goes. Would they trade up? I could see a situation where they would, for sure. I love Jared Verse. I think he's awesome. I don't know if they'll do it, but if they did it, I'm not going to complain. I wanted Will Anderson bad last year. Imagine having two bookends like that, putting pressure on the quarterback, sacks to the face. Nobody likes sacks to the face. Nobody. Aiden Hutchinson's, he's got strong sacks, okay? It just knocks people down when he hits you. He needs barrels sometimes, those sacks. So it is what it is. I could definitely see a situation. What about you? You think they'll trade up to get a Jared Verse or maybe another player?
Oh, yeah. If we were to trade up for Jared Verse or Jose Newton would be the one I'd do on the interior. I just think he's absolutely phenomenal, next-level player. Put him next to Aleem, you're going to go crazy. But, yeah, I think he absolutely would trade up for someone like that if they come down. And I really like Verse as well. He's done it the hard way. He started in FCS Albany, grinded his way out of there, went to a top team in Florida State, and the man adjusted to it like that. The competition level meant nothing. He's just a dominant, aggressive edge, and he would be a great bookend to put across from Hutch if you're going to go down the young route. So absolutely would not say no to that.
Taylor Alexis Janella, hashtag top receiver of a Jared Goff pass. You're talking about right now? That would be St. Brown. Definitely he's the top receiver for the Detroit Lions. 1,500 yards receiving. He's the go-to. Next is going to be it's going to be a tight end, Sam Laporta, and then probably Jamison Williams. I think he'll be in that in 2024/5 season next year. Those will probably be the top ones, if you're to ask me. Don't know if Josh Reynolds is going to be back, so I don't know. I think he's going to be back, but we got to wait until free agency to see if the Detroit Lions bring him back. Because just you think, it doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. I think a lot of us thought that Jamal Williams was coming back. That didn't happen. So we'll see. We'll see. Whatever decision they make, they will make. But it's definitely going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown who's going to be the guy. That's the number one. Make no mistake about it.
Would you spend on a receiver this year, Mike? Would you draft another one? No, would you draft one?
This is a tough question because I don't know who they're going to sign in free agency. If they don't sign Josh Reynolds or Donovan Peoples-Jones, I would say yes. If they do, I would say no. Maybe, but there's just so many players that you already know that's in the slot. You already know that St. Brown's going to be there. Jamison Williams is going to be there. Khalif Raymond's going to be there. We just signed Traquan. He's going to be there. That's 4. Then you got to look at, again, are they going to bring back Donovan Peoples-Jones? Are they going to bring back Josh Reynolds? If they do, there's only one slot really available. And if you want to draft maybe developmental on a practice squad late in the draft, it's going to be difficult. I'm going to go with I don't think they do. I'll go less than 50%. What about you?
I would. I was saying would you, personally, but I would draft again.
It depends where it's
I still do believe.
I'm not going to.
Oh yeah, it's not a top 2 day pick. I mean, like, we're talking
I'm
maybe
a BPA anyways.
early fourth here.
My philosophy is BPA, best player available. If a guy falls, if like a St. Brown was to fall, you just take it. Like, it's one of those deals where I don't care if you have an influx. I want to get better in talent-wise. So if a player were to fall, go for it. I don't care. I'm always going to be like that. I don't care if it's a position that we have. It's all about getting talent. It's all about getting better at every position, not taking something else less talented because you simply just don't have that position. I think if you do the philosophy that Brad Holmes has been doing, it's going to be BPA. Best player available that fits their scheme, their philosophy. Hard nose. If they do, it's probably going to be a wide receiver that blocks well. That's something that would be part of there, but it just depends what they do in free agency. If they don't bring those guys back, I would say yes. If they do, if one were to slide, yes, but I'm not going to force it. This would be, I'm going to let the board sit there. I'm going to let it go and be like, this guy is still on the board. I can't ignore it like a Brian Branch, right? You just can't ignore it at some point. Even though we were good at safety, we didn't know Emmanuel Mosley was not going to play the whole season. They still took the best player available, and I take that approach as the correct approach. So that's the way I see it. Ant-Man, where can people find you?
So you can find me at Roar of the Lions UK. We are a group of British-based Detroit Lions podcasters, all very big fans of the team. We go live on Mondays. Me and one of the other guys do a college football show on Wednesdays, so we're always talking prospects and college ball and stuff like that if you want to join us for that as well. And then you can find me on Lions Nation Unite as well on Tuesdays with the lovely guy next to me right here, so other way. Mike.
Yes, the lovely guy, and we're actually going to be hanging out soon. I cannot wait for the Ant-Man to come over the pond so we can hang out on LNU for draft. It's going to be sick and ridiculous. We're going balls deep in the NFL draft, and we're all going to be together in studio, hanging out, doing segments. It's going to be glorious. Hang out with Herman Moore. Hang out, maybe Lomas Brown be there. Loam, because he was there last time. Really, really cool. Maybe Megatron will come there. I don't know, but that's going to be epic. I cannot wait to meet Ant-Man. I met your brother in crime, Matt. Gave me a big old hug. Squeezed me hard. I'm not going to lie. I moved a little to the left, but it was good. It was good. But I appreciate everybody hanging out, folks. About to get off right now. With that said, folks, adios.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. Just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be